Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerald Anderson, and I'm the president of the Board of Trustees, SECO Energy. Welcome. It's really nice to see so many people here. What a great facility, and we have to thank the First Baptist Church South for opening their doors to us on such short notice. And I have to say thanks to our SECO staff that I don't know how they got it all done, but turned heaven and earth to get this meeting all set up for us tonight. I don't know how many of you drove or took the bus. Not too many. Most of you drove over, I guess. Good. Okay. All right, we're going to start off. Our District 6 trustee, Mike Moffett, will lead us in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mike?
Would you stand with me, please? Father, thank you for the day that you've given us, the wonderful day you've given us. Thank you for the safety and travel that you gave us to come here. We thank you for all the members that came today and to vote and to be with the business meeting tonight. And we thank you for our employees that work hard. And we just pray that you'd watch over them and protect them as they do their job, many times in dangerous conditions. We ask you, Father, that you would be with the United States of America and bless it and help us to be united. Father, and give us peace around the world. As many conflicts that are happening right now, we ask you to help us in that area. And now as we go home this evening, we just pray that you would be with us as we travel home and give us safety. We pray it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Mike. Seated behind me are the Board of Trustees, which I'll introduce in a moment. But before we do that, we have 9 trustees represented from 9 districts, and they all run for a 3-year term. So every year we have 3 of these meetings for election. This one's a little bit different for us, a little bit special. Normally when I come, I don't have to do anything. I just sit up here, go over and have one of those great cookies over there, maybe 2, and then our CEO and our solicitor run the meeting. What's different tonight is that we want to give respect and say to Mr. Bill James. Bill James has been your representative for 12 years. Think about that. That means you elected him 4 times. And you did a great job, because he's done a great job for you. He's always put the SECO members first. He's always been there to help, always there to share information. And believe me, Bill has a tremendous amount of information. We've all called on him at various times. And we're going to miss him when he's not with us. And we're going to wish him well. And Bill's a guy who believes really in the co-op principles. And he believes in providing you with safe, reliable, and economical electric power. And I think if you look at your bill, you know he's done a good job, hasn't he? So, and not only has Bill served on the SECO board, he spent 7 years on the Seminole board of trustees. Seminole is our power provider. It's a very important position because 67% of our budget goes to purchase power. So no small term deal for Bill to be able to be there and represent us. Bill was always willing to share information. I remember when I first got elected, and this meeting similar to this meeting, a little bit different because of an open seat. And at the end of the meeting, I got handed this big ring book, about 6 inches thick, full of paper. And I said, "What is that?" And they said, "Well, that's the agenda and the meeting information for next Monday." I said, "What? Monday?" I looked at my wife and I said, "What did I get into?" Anyway, let me tell you 2 gentlemen, you won't get a big book tonight. We're now all electronic, so it's a big difference. We've come a long way. In the 12 years I think that Bill's been with SECO Energy, we've seen tremendous changes. Bill's been in the forefront all the time of leading the path. And I want to personally thank him for taking out of his time when I did first get elected to come to my home, visit with me, spend 4 or 5 hours on helping me understand what makes a co-op tick and SECO Energy. And Bill, I really thank you for that, all that time you spent. Bill's not quite done. We still have a couple more meetings for him. He's not going to get off the hook quite yet. So anyway, please join me in saying thank you, Bill, for a great job for the last 12 years. Okay, with that said, now I'll introduce our Board of Trustees. See, where is he? Over here. We have our Vice President, Scott Boyette, and District 1 Trustee. Scott. Next to him, we have Morgan Hatfield. Morgan is our Board Secretary, Treasurer, and District 9 Trustee. Our District 2 Trustee is Joyce Anderson. No relation, by the way. Our District 5 Trustee is Shannon Wright. District 6 Trustee, you've already met, Mike Moffitt, and his wife Irene is with us tonight. District 7 Trustee is Joe Kuziak. And Joe's wife Carmen is with us tonight also. And you also met Bill from District 8. And Daphne is sitting in the back, way back in the back. There she is. Okay, I think that concludes my part of the meeting. Now I have to introduce, I forgot our CEO. Can't get well. Had to stop when I looked back at you, Daphne, back there, and way back in the back of the room. Curtis Wynn. Then we have our attorney, Scott Gherkin, who will be coming up here in a minute. Scott will chair the rest of the meeting for us, so I ask him to come to the podium.
Thank you. I complained once about the lawyer never gets applause, and so I appreciate Curtis helping me out there. So it is an honor to chair your meeting tonight, a privilege to be here. And as we start off all of these District 8 meetings, I guess the lawyer gets some of the drudgery, some of the not so exciting but important things that we need to do to make the meeting official. There are 3 things that we always do. 1, your bylaws require that we have a recording secretary to be appointed to take minutes of the meeting and to keep a record for posterity's sake. And as she's done many times before, I would like to appoint Jerry Helms, and thankfully she's accepted that. One of these days you're not going to accept it. I don't know what I'll do if you ever do that, but thank you. We will appoint Jerry as our recording secretary for this evening. Second is it looks like there is no one in line to vote. Amanda's given me the thumbs up, so if everyone here has voted, correct? You didn't get distracted by the cookies or anything like that. You voted, everybody. I see no one. So with that, we will go ahead and close registration so we can go ahead and begin to tally the results, and we will announce those a little bit later in the meeting. And the last housekeeping item that we have is I'm happy to report that you have far surpassed the minimum quorum of 20, which is required to have a legal meeting. So we have that here this evening, and that will make our election official once it is tallied this evening. So with those 3 things out of the way, I will bring to the podium and announce to you our Secretary Treasurer and District Trustee Morgan Hatfield, who will announce the certified candidates. Ms. Hatfield?
Thank you, Mr. Gherkin. Good evening. It's wonderful to see a crowd here tonight for the District 8 meeting. As Mr. Gerken stated, I am Morgan Hatfield, the Secretary Treasurer and District 9 Trustee. It is my responsibility to certify the nominees for Trustee in District 8 in accordance with Article 3, Section G, Paragraph 2 of the Bylaws of Sumter Electric Cooperative Incorporated. The following member is certified as a nominee for Trustee for District 8. Anthony Grove, 1105 Sadie Ridge Road, Claremont, Florida, 34715. And the second member who is certified as a nominee for Trustee for District 8, Martin Proctor, 18225 Rose Street, Groveland, Florida, 34736. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hatfield, and good luck to our two candidates. Now that voting has been closed, a little bit of an explanation of just what you were voting for this evening. I do find it fitting in this presidential election year with all the talk about rigged elections and all of these things that SECO, no, not that this is a rigged election, but that SECO is a beautiful example of democracy in action. Unlike investor-owned utilities and government-owned utilities, SECO is a cooperative, which means that it is owned by you, the members. SECO's cooperative is divided into 9 districts, and your District 8 meeting is this evening, and each district, the members of the district get to choose the trustee for their district. And you'll hear a lot about that cooperative governance. I won't steal his thunder, but our CEO will be speaking about that a little bit later, so I won't belabor that, but it is a wonderful thing. One member, one vote. So whether it was through the drive-through or physically this evening, the members have all had a chance to vote, and we will tally those votes up. It used to be in the good old days, you literally had a paper ballot with a locked box, and we would count the ballots and then carry them up to the top. We've advanced a lot, and now it's all electronic and iPads and all of that, but it is still one member, one vote. That will always ring true. There are 2 candidates tonight, and was said earlier, the 2 candidates, neither of which are Mr. James, and I just wanted to say personally, my word of thank you to Mr. James for his service and wisdom. Mr. James is a legend within the co-op industry, and you've been privileged to have him be your trustee for the last 12 years. We have 2 worthy candidates this evening. They have big shoes to fill, but I'm confident that they will do an excellent job, either one of them, if elected this evening. With that, I believe the next thing on the agenda is to go ahead and introduce our CEO, Mr. Curtis Wynn, who will give a little bit update on the state of the cooperative, after which he will have a question and answering session. So if you have any questions for the co-op or for Mr. Wynn, he will also have the executive leadership team with him, which will take questions at that time. So whether it be, why did they cut my tree a certain way, or whatever that happens to be, now is your time to ask Mr. Wynn and the people who make those type of decisions. So think of your questions while he's speaking, although pay attention to what he says as well. And with that, will you please welcome with me, with applause, our CEO, Curtis Wynn.
Thank you, Mr. Gerken. See, that's why I wanted them to clap for you, so you could get them to clap for me. Welcome and good evening. It's great to be here with you, and thank you for joining the SECO Energy team and your fellow District 8 members here tonight at tonight's meeting. It is also good to see you. I'm honored to be a part of this crowd tonight, and your participation in this district meeting is a symbol of the fundamental part of what a cooperative is, and that cooperative governance process. For those of you who completed the interactive online survey, you might remember that we're grateful for your feedback and for your time and commitment to fill that out for us. It is very important to get feedback from you. We will have an opportunity for an open discussion, as Mr. Gerken has already mentioned, at the end of my prepared comments to learn more about your expectations, the expectations you have of SECO as your electric utility. Just as a reminder, during that open discussion, we want to limit that to general questions about your cooperative. You've heard announcements throughout the time you were waiting that if you had specific questions about your account or things specific to you as an individual, we want you to rely on our team who's positioned around the room to answer those questions. And we'll keep our comments and questions that you have of us pretty general. Now, I want to give special thanks to our SECO Energy Board of Trustees who are seated behind me. You know, collectively, they have a big job. And they serve, as has already been mentioned, in the best interest of the membership, making sure they provide governance and fiduciary oversight of your electric cooperative. So if you don't mind, please give them a round of applause, our Board of Trustees. Now, as Mr. Anderson has already said, and Mr. Gerken has alluded, our current trustee for District 8, Mr. Bill James, has decided to retire from his board seat. And I, too, have to give accolades and just due respect to this man. I've had a chance to sit at his feet and learn so much about the industry, especially during our Seminole board meetings. We've had some real good conversations there, and he's really taught me a lot as a part of this job that I have. He's been here and he's done this. So let's give him another round of applause if you don't mind. Mr. James. So tonight, while Mr. James has decided to retire from his board service, we are pleased to have two candidates here with us tonight and who put their name forward to serve as the District 8 trustee. And it's already been mentioned, but I think it's worth repeating again that Mr. Anthony Grove and Mr. Marty Proctor are here to put their names forward. I want to give them a round of applause and thanks for your willingness to serve in that big role that you're thinking about serving in. So let's give them a round of applause. Did you know that SECO Energy just celebrated its 85th anniversary last year? How many knew that? Show of hands. 85 years. Formerly known as Sumter Electric Cooperative, the cooperative electrified its first 400 rural homes near Webster back in November of 1938. Now, not-for-profit electric cooperatives like SECO were established as inclusive organizations whose purpose was to electrify rural homes and farms. Now, these households were underserved by investor-owned utilities that were serving the more densely populated areas, the populated cities back in the 1930s. Now, frankly, the investor-owned and municipal utilities of 85 years ago believed that extending service out to the rural farmlands was just not profitable enough, and it was just too expensive to do. They chose not to do so. In just 85 years, the landscape has completely changed, especially around this region. Our roots are humble, and our business model remains stable. What was once a small utility, SECO has now grown to be the third largest electric cooperative in the state of Florida. And we're also the seventh largest electric cooperative in the nation. Now, currently, we serve over 240,000 homes and businesses within the Central Florida service area. Now, almost 20,000 of these members are right here in District 8. Now, every day, roughly 500,000 consumers depend on us at SECO to provide them safe, affordable, and reliable electric service to meet their everyday needs. Now, how many of you consider yourself a customer of SECO Energy? Raise your hand. I just did a trick question on you. You are customers, but you're more than that. You're not just a customer, you are a member. You've already heard us refer to you as such earlier. You are a member, and here's the difference. As a member, you have a voice in the cooperative governance process. This is evidenced by your participation here tonight. Cooperative members are eligible to vote for one of these two gentlemen that are sitting in front of me to represent you here in District 8. They will serve on SECO's Board of Trustees, just like the dedicated ladies and gentlemen who are sitting behind me, for whom I have the opportunity and the pleasure to work. Now, as a member, you also share in SECO's not-for-profit business model, and you see this is how we do it. Excess margins, some people call them profits. Excess margins that remain after we pay all of our bills are called capital credits, which are assigned proportionately to each active member that patronized us during that particular year. Now, each year, SECO's board and our financial team will sit down and examine and determine if it's feasible to pay members a portion of their accumulated capital credits that we have assigned to those members. Now, over the past decade, over the past 10 years, SECO Energy has paid almost $47 million in capital credits to current and former members. Yes, former members, those who have moved away from our service territory, and the heirs of an estate of a deceased member are also eligible to receive a capital credits payout. Now, that is why if you know of someone, or if it happens to you, if you move, it is very important that you leave us a current address at SECO Energy, because you still have a part in this governance process even after you leave. So customers, as I asked you earlier, customers of investor-owned municipal utilities do not receive these awesome member benefits. And as the saying goes, membership has its privileges and it also has its benefits. Now, SECO and the energy industry itself have come a long way since the 1930s and back in 1938. To be successful and to move SECO Energy forward into the future, the Board of Trustees, our executive leadership team, who you'll meet later, and we knew that we needed a clear, focused, and executable strategy. We managed using a newly developed strategy execution system, and that is taking SECO into the future. So to keep our strategic direction simple and transparent, we summarize this detailed system using a one-page strategy map. You have it in your yellow bags. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to grab that, because we're going to use this as a part of my comments tonight. So keep that handy. We'll be making reference to our strategy map, so just keep that in front of you as we go through. So if you look at this, you start with our mission. As a part of this process, we have embraced a new mission, which is to provide, as a not-for-profit cooperative, SECO Energy provides reliable and innovative energy services to our members and communities. That's our mission. We also have a new vision of how we see ourselves in the future. With that, we see ourselves leading the industry in member satisfaction and engagement by being the preferred employer in our region over the next 3 to 5 years. It's a pretty bold vision, but we believe in it. And we operate and treat our members within a framework of a set of core values that you see listed here. And it starts with safety at the very beginning of the list. You have other values like member commitment, honesty and integrity, strong work ethic. We are inclusive. We have an inclusive culture. We believe in accountability and teamwork. Those are our values as a cooperative. Now below those, if you look below those, you have 4 perspectives from which we view our work. And underneath these is a list of specific goals that we must do to fulfill that mission, vision, and core values that I just mentioned. In that teal section, which is the people and culture section, we work hard, very hard at SECO Energy to establish a culture that attracts the very best talent that we can find to do the work that we must do. In that red section, our operational initiatives, this outlines and defines the major activities that we must focus on, to have specific focus on to be successful as an organization. In that green section, these are the things that we have to do to keep our rates competitive and to remain financially strong. And finally, the orange section at the bottom. All of our work is done with a focus on doing what is right and what is only right for you, our members. Now, the membership perspective is what I consider the bottom line. It's the bottom line. And in that, out of all the work that we do, we strive to have you, our members, to be enthusiastic in making these 3 statements that you see at the bottom of our strategy map. That is our strategy in a nutshell. So please allow me to highlight a few things and a few examples of efforts that we're actually doing and have underway right now to demonstrate our commitment to these 3 statements. Now, first of all, this is the first time for me, the first meeting that I have had the opportunity to attend a district meeting here in District 8. But I can tell you that when I took this job back in December of 2021, one of our board's top priorities was to begin the transition from manually reading meters to an automated system. And at the end of 2022, the board approved the implementation of advanced metering infrastructure. We also call it AMI technology. Now, AMI is a win. It's a win for the cooperative and for you, the members. It is one of the most innovative energy services that we can provide to you as a member. An AMI system will reduce the labor costs that stem from physically dispatching technicians to go out every month to read meters. Now, there are other benefits as well. The system will identify power outages well before you get a chance to even look up and find our telephone number. It will also identify minor issues or minor service malfunctions that could lead to an outage if we didn't take care of those. It has a lot more that it does for you. Now, most importantly, all those things are great, but most importantly, AMI will help us engage directly with you as it provides real insight into your energy use within your home. Through our online account management platform that you heard about earlier, is called Smart Hub. With that, you can or will be able to, once you get the AMI system at your locations, to review your daily meter readings in 15-minute intervals, every 15 minutes. These near real-time readings will also allow us to provide you information that can help provide a cost breakdown for all of the appliances and electronics in your home. You can receive alerts when your energy usage is higher than usual, allowing you right then to take measures that will avoid you getting the unpleasant surprise of a large electric bill. Nobody wants that. So usage breakdowns also allow SECO's team back at the office to help you determine energy efficiency measures that you can put in place that will make a real-time difference in your monthly energy dollars that you spend with SECO Energy. Important to everybody. Today, we have over 65,000 AMI meters installed across our system. And we're working as quickly as possible to bring this this technology to all parts of our whole territory, of our service area. Now, this is one of many efforts that we have underway that will hopefully get you to agree that if you go back to that map, that SECO Energy, if you look at the bottom in the middle, to be able to say that SECO Energy helps me manage my energy usage. That's a part of our strategy map. These advantages are just the tip of the iceberg as they relate to the more efficient operations and cost savings that you can have as members as well as we can have as a utility. Delivering high-impact services is also on this list. It's in the red section, near the bottom. We strive to not just be your energy provider, we also are striving every day to be your trusted energy advisor. So as a not-for-profit organization, reducing costs is high on our list of objectives, and I know that is important to you as well. So we can help. SECO Energy has developed online energy efficiency tools that can help you identify the areas within your home or your business that can use an energy savings tune-up. Our online home energy assessment tool is a full energy audit that you can conduct right from the comfort of your home or your business. What you do is you simply fill out some prompts, some questions to input information about your home and your lifestyle. You submit those answers, you give us an email address, and one of our team members will get in touch with you and talk with you about energy savings that are tailored just for you and your situation at your home. Another online energy savings tool is the Energy Estimator. With that, if you want to see the dollars and cents associated with the most common household appliances and electronics, you just complete this Energy Estimator, then you choose your electronics and appliances and the number of hours that device is in use typically. And that Energy Estimator will calculate the estimated energy costs by the month or by the year. And you can find both of these tools if you go online at secoenergy.com, and it's underneath the Energy Solutions section of our website. Another topic that is relevant in today's economy is the adoption of member-owned rooftop solar arrays. As your trusted source of energy solutions, we employ experts at SECO who understand how solar works. We understand what the benefits are and the disadvantages, and can help you decide if a personal investment in a rooftop solar system is a viable choice for your home or your business. Now, if you're considering solar, we have one request, is that you reach out to us. Please reach out to us before signing a contract. We say that because in conversations that we've had with many of the over 5,500 of our members who have already invested in solar, they're in many ways begrudgingly telling us that their investment in solar is not the money saver that they were told it would be before they made that investment. A lot of them are telling us that. And solar equipment, as you know, if you've looked into it, is very expensive. There are no free solar systems out there, regardless of what you might hear through blatantly false advertising. After you add up the cost of the equipment, the cost to finance it, and the maintenance charges, and the energy that you will continue to purchase from SECO Energy, that monthly financial outlay in many cases is greater than the original average electric bill that you had before the investment. One other thing I have to mention is that SECO Energy is not selling solar systems. I had a member actually talk to me recently and that said that they had seen reports saying that the solar companies are telling our members that SECO Energy had sent them to go see you as a member because we were going to be short on electricity. And we did not have enough electricity to provide you, so that member needed a solar system to make up for the difference. Not true. Curtis did not tell them that, and it's just not true. People are beginning to hear that, and that's just, I want to make that clear to you. We have adequate power. As Mr. Anderson said, we purchase power from Seminole Electric, and they have adequate power to serve your needs. So hopefully you will trust us to help you identify the facts before you allow solar vendors to convince you to make an unwise investment. That's what we're here for. Our goal is to get you to agree that your cooperative, SECO Energy, is your trusted source of energy solutions, just as it says on the bottom of our strategy map. Now, after being in business for over 85 years, we get it. We know that what is most important to you are two things. The first is keeping the lights on. It's very simple. And the second is to keep your rates as low as possible. Now, does anyone disagree with that? Does everybody agree with that? So let's talk about these. Speaking of keeping the rates as low as possible, have you noticed on your SECO Energy bills that hot bucks are back? They're back. And since October, the price of natural gas has stabilized. And we can once again credit your electric bills in the form of hot bucks. And that's due to the lower cost of natural gas. This is one of the primary fuels that Seminole Electric, as you heard about earlier, the cooperative from which we purchase our power, that's one of the primary fuels they use to generate power. And so as that price fluctuates, so do our bills. So I'll ask you this question. How many things today can you think of or can you buy today that costs less than it cost you 5 years ago? If you can think of one thing, raise your hand. There's no need for me to go asking you if you can think of two things. Well, I don't think anyone can think of many things, but there is at least one. See, when you look back in time, it remains that SECO Energy and the electric utility industry as a whole is a good value for the dollars that you spend. Now, with the reapplication of hot bucks that we just did, SECO's members are paying slightly less for 1,000 kilowatt hours today than you paid or would have paid 5 years ago back in January of 2019. So we're very excited tonight to report that to you, that there is that one thing that's cheaper. Now, that's about keeping your rates low. Let's talk about keeping the lights on. In keeping the lights on, we love, just in general, as a utility and as an industry, we love acronyms. So I want to share 3 of those acronyms with you tonight. And all of these deal with how we keep the lights on. So bear with me. These 3 acronyms are, first one is SAIDI, the second one is SAFE, and the last one is CAIDI. No need for me to tell you what those acronyms stand for letter by letter, but I want to just give you some key words. SAIDI measures the duration, that D, duration in minutes. An average minute, an average electric cooperative consumer like yourselves is without power each year. The most recent national averages show that in 2021, members or customers, let's make that distinction. Customers were out of power for almost 500 minutes. That's about 8 hours and a half over a year. Our Chief Operating Officer, who you're going to meet later, Mr. LaSalva, and our entire SECO team and our board are proud to report that in comparison, SECO members were out of power for only an average of 64 minutes. That's about 1 hour versus over 5 hours. That's the first one. Our next acronym is SAFE, with a focus on the F. That's frequency, which is a measure of the frequency of interruptions that a member has each year. How often were you out? Every member of SECO averaged being out only 1.2 times compared to 1.43 times as the industry average. Not a lot of difference there, but there is a difference. Last year, for the first time in our history, that number, instead of it being slightly above 1, was less than 1. That was the first time in SECO's history that happened. The last acronym is CATIE. And this is a measure of the number of minutes once you report the outage that it takes for us to restore your power. Now, we have been in this a long time, and I want to just share with you, in 2021, SECO Energy's CATIE measurement was 53 minutes, and that's compared to the national average time of 331 minutes. Now, that's less than an hour for SECO, over 5 hours as the national average. Now, through these measurements, SECO ranks best in class in reliability. We have maintained those comparisons for years, especially this last year in 2023. Now, you may be asking, how did you get these numbers, these stellar numbers in reliability? Well, I'm glad you asked. The keys are maintenance and ongoing investments in our electric infrastructure. It takes that. Our engineering and operations team, they follow a routine maintenance and inspection cycle that includes substation, pole, overhead, underground equipment inspections on a regular basis. Yearly, our investments in vegetation management allows us to proactively trim trees away from the hundreds of miles of overhead power lines, and remove those weak or dying trees that would otherwise fall on the lines and cause an outage. With the best-in-class reliability numbers that I've shared, combined with the lower than usual rates, I hope you agree that as we go back to the strategy map, that SECO Energy is reliable and a good value. I hope that those examples will get you leaning in that direction. So whenever you just develop a strategy, this is what's important. It is important to know when you've been successful. What does it look like? At SECO, we will know we have been successful when our members are enthusiastically making 3 statements about their electric cooperative. These statements are the ones, again, at the bottom of our strategy map. So hopefully during these few minutes and these comments that I've provided to you tonight, that I've shared, then the examples that I've presented to you, that you will join me, and there's a little bit of participation here, you'll join me in saying what's printed at the bottom of our strategy map. All right, so I'll lead it. If you agree, you finish it. Let's go from left to right. M1. I'll just say SECO Energy, and you finish it, okay? Number 1, SECO Energy. M2, SECO Energy. M3, SECO Energy. Thank you. I almost said amen. See, it's not what we think. It's not what we think that is important, but what is most important is what you think about our service that matters most to us. And folks, that is the bottom line. I want to just thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. We're going to transition now in the meeting. We're going to, while you were waiting during the business meeting, I hope you had a chance to take advantage of our employees who were standing by to answer specific questions about electric vehicles, energy efficiency, surge protection, smart hub, and all those things. If you did get answers, maybe we can answer some, get a little bit more involved with our Q&A part that's coming up. If we don't answer it then, you can always call us, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So I'm going to call up our executive leadership team and bring them up. While we're doing that, I just want to let you know that we see good results, and hopefully you agree that we are seeing good results. But we don't do these things don't happen without the dedication of our employees and our team back at the office, out in the field, coming to work day by day, doing the work for you, the members. So I'd like for you, for the employees who are in the room, if you don't mind, let's give them a round of applause. So again, thank you. I'll ask our executive leadership team to come up. They're here, and I'm going to introduce them as they come to the front, and we'll start our Q&A part of the meeting. First, let me introduce our Chief Operating Officer, John LaSelva. Next to him is Greg Morrell, our Chief Corporate Services Officer. Next to him is Ben Dawson, our Vice President of Growth, Smart Grid, and Operational Technologies. And Ann Reynolds is next to Ben. She's our Vice President of Financial and Administrative Services. And last but not least is Tracy DeLimos, our Vice President, Corporate General Counsel. We have mics prepared. We have mics here in the aisles. If anyone has any questions, feel free to go to the mic. If you don't mind, just introduce yourselves and let us hear what's on your minds. All right.
My name is Bob Warhus. This may be a little bit before your time, but hopefully somebody up here can answer this question. Prior to COVID, each year, SECO had an annual meeting, was absolutely huge. I assume everybody that worked at SECO worked that day. You had people parking, you had tents, you had entertainment, you had breakfast, you had stuff everywhere. When COVID came along, you said, hey, maybe we can do this online. Can somebody tell me how much money you saved by converting an in-person meeting to an online meeting? Because it had to be absolutely huge.
Yes. Ann Reynolds can definitely. Dan, before you answer the question, I made a big mistake. I forgot to introduce Jerry Helms, who keeps me straight every day, our administrative assistant to the board and the CEO. So please allow me to interject that so I can make it to work tomorrow. All right, Ann, you can go now.
First, let me relay that I think all of our staff members would agree that we loved the annual meeting as well. And as the finance person, I think it's my job to say, yes, it was certainly a costly meeting, but I wouldn't say that that's the only reason why that we made the decision to go virtual. One of the first reasons is safety. Safety in our organization is paramount. And so we certainly could not, it was a very popular meeting. And each year it got bigger and bigger, and we unfortunately were not able to host such a big party any longer. So with almost 250,000 members and an open invite, it was very, very difficult and challenging to ensure the safety of each of our members. So number one, that was the paramount reason. Number two, however, there was a cost savings. And I would say that it was close to $250,000 in savings. So that savings also ensures that all of our rates are low. And so that was part of the reason, but certainly paramount was the safety of our members.
Thank you for that question. Also, we really encourage members to participate in this new format. One of the things that I'll add to Ann's response is that I have trustees behind me who live all over a huge swath of Central Florida. And as you look at it on the map of who really had the time or took the time to come to those meetings, it was really a small area close to Sumterville. So what we found that since we've gone virtual, the participation is all over the place. So someone 50 miles away from Sumterville has as much of an opportunity to participate in those meetings as someone close. So that's another advantage of making that change in addition to what you've heard. I think you can go next, sir, and then we'll go with you, sir.
I'm Jim Shade. We live over in the plantation, and we appreciate the good constant service we get from our SECO Power. My question is, I've been doing a lot of reading as this photovoltaic concept seems to be losing its loveliness, if that's the right word. Nuclear power, what % of your power comes from nuclear power, number one? And number two, are these small modular
Reactors?
reactors
Yes, sir.
going to play in and help maybe keep the price of electric down? Is there consideration going on about employing some of this technology? Thank you.
Ben, why don't you take that one? Thank you, Ben.
On the solar viability, I think there's always ebbs and lows in the market with solar. Just it's a market-driven generation. But getting to your small nuclear, it's something that Seminole is constantly looking at. I think they are a member of a consortium that is looking at the viability of that. It's just a matter of who's going to do it first, and is it going to be economically viable. I think they're always constantly looking at that, and it's a wait and see approach on if they can make it economical.
And also, we have no nuclear that I'm aware of that is a part of our portfolio, if you will. And all of it comes through Seminole Electric, and they've not invested in nuclear as a generation source.
At one time, historically, if you've been a member for a long time, there was a percentage, but there was a plant that was shut down a few years ago.
Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You folks do a wonderful job, and you have a lot of great programs. One that you didn't mention is the Pennies from Heaven. And I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
Okay, so our corporate general counsel, one or two of these young ladies will be happy to do it. They might both answer that question. So y'all look closest. Go, Tracy.
Thank you. So Pennies from Heaven was the previous name of the program. Pennies from Heaven has transitioned now to the SECO Energy Foundation, which is a 501c3 not-for-profit foundation that is serving our communities by giving back. So there's actually a 9-member independent board of directors. Each of them are chosen by the trustees behind me, who are able to then administer those funds to the communities served by SECO. So it's still happening. It's just a different format than Pennies from Heaven was in the past. So thank you.
Thank you. We have does anyone have any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Thank you. Doing great.
Good. Well, I first want to commend you guys because I worked with about 7 different electricity companies, and it's the first time that I hear about one that's not for profit. Super interesting, so I commend you guys for that. I do have a question. I have moved around all over Florida. I've currently had 2 different rental properties that do have solar on it, and I do have a little question for you guys being a not-for-profit. How will the impact of people who are switching over to solar energy in the area, or in other words, people who are producing the majority of their electricity, impact SECO's energy payout or the credits that you guys give?
Ann, you want to do that?
So the capital credits are allocated based on your actual electric bill. So the proportion would be smaller because it would be only based on what you're purchasing. But you're not, you'd still included in, so in that calculation, it just the proportion would be smaller based on how much usage compared to the rest of the membership.
Interesting. And I have one more question. So I was looking at the paper that you guys gave out, and you mentioned you guys are trying to leverage some of the power. Well, to leverage is to reduce some of the weight or force on a specific object. In this case, we're trying to leverage some of the usage we put on our grid, our power lines, or transmission stations or substations, right? Will this allow SECO to grow infrastructure with having its own solar farm in the future?
There's many different components of that, in that question. The leveraging is a few things. Smart grid devices, smart thermostats, smart water heaters, batteries, even interconnecting with solar with batteries. Really 2 component, like Mr. Wynn mentioned earlier, and Mr. Anderson, 67% of our budget and your power bills is from wholesale power. And there's 2 components. There's the energy and the capacity component. And by being able to reduce that capacity we'll be able to leverage and be able to lower the wholesale power cost using those type of technologies.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Alex Leando. I live over in Plantation. And it seems like every week or every other week, I hear about a new bulk of homes that's going to be built in our area. And it seems to me like the village is going to take us over any day now. They just announced a big tract of land they bought on the other side of the turnpike. So I don't know exactly what your boundaries are, but what plans are there to deal with this this urge in houses that I hear like 35,000 more homes?
Yes, sir. Our chief operating officer is just anxious to answer that question.
Now, I was hoping to get off tonight with no questions, but I knew there would be one. So I can't speak specifically about the villages and their property. That is their thing. And even though Wayne Pennington and I meet with them on a regular basis, a lot of their purchases are under a different name, and they don't tell us about it until that time. So let me just talk about capacity. So the villages is estimating, we just went to a meeting a few months ago, and they're estimating closing over 30 houses a day in this next year. So 30 a day. So we are already ahead for capacity. We're already ahead for service. So for SECO, it's an opportunity to move up in the standing of larger cooperatives. For us, it's more sales and more members. We're poised to grow with the villages or any other developer. So in Lake County, the villages is not the only thing that's growing in Lake County. In South Lake County, last year, the growth was almost equal in Marion, Lake, and Sumter County. It used to be the Villages was the big growth area, but now World Equestrian Center up in Marion County, Wellness Way, which is in South Lake County, and the Villages are all growth areas, but we're ready to grow with them. We are all committed to providing the best service we can to everyone. And so just because new people are moving in, that's a question I usually get. Your name was Alex, sir? So Alex, a question I usually get is, all these new people are coming in, what's going to happen to my service? Okay, we're going to still pay attention to you, sir. You're just as important as the new person who comes in. So if your power's out, I can tell you that we're going to respond to you as quickly as a new person coming in. So that's what I love working about at a cooperative. Everybody is important for us. So we don't have a capacity problem. We don't have a growth problem. We have some challenges sometimes with materials, just like everybody else does with supply chain, but we're overcoming those. So everything, we're ready to go. So we have no issues with growing with the Villages or any other developer.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that answered your question.
Great. Okay, any other questions? All right. Well, the hour's getting a little bit later and later. If you don't have any questions, we won't continue to hold you up, but we do thank you for the questions. And if you think of anything after we leave and you want to find out more about your electric cooperative, just give us a call. We appreciate it. Now, before we close, if you want to give our team a more than deserve it. Thank you. Now, many of you have completed our online survey. We ask you questions. We thank you for that. Thank you again for doing that. As you know, through the online survey and the District 8 notice, each of you who attended tonight's meeting is eligible for additional incentives via a credit on your electric bill. As promised, if one of you are the lucky winners of our drawing, which will happen tomorrow, those bill credits will be showing up on your upcoming electric bill. So look out for those. I'm going to now turn the podium over to our board attorney, Scott Gherkin, again, who you met earlier, who's going to now formally announce the voting results. Thank you again for participating and spending time with us.
Thank you all. Before we announce the election results, there are some thank yous, a few additional thank yous to mention. As mentioned earlier, thanks again to the First Baptist Church for accommodating you all this evening. I've heard nothing but rave reviews for the church, particularly accommodating the switch of location. So we thank you for the church for hosting it and hope that this can be a place moving forward in the future for your meetings. The second thing is thank you to you, the members, for attending, and particularly with the change in location. Thank you to those residents of Plantation who have made the move over. We thank you for being understanding, and I think everybody seems to be comfortable here tonight. I notice these chairs are incredibly comfortable, so I hope you've enjoyed them as well. The third thing is thank you again to SECO staff. As always, they do a tremendous job, and we appreciate all the work they do for you. And thank you for our candidates, Mr. Grove and Mr. Proctor. It takes a lot to step up and throw your hat in the ring and make yourself available to serve as a trustee, and we thank you both for running. And the final thank you, which again is from the heart, is to thank Mr. James for his wisdom through the years. I know when I came to the board, he was always a person who I could go to for information, and I thank him for all of his service, both for me and for you and your district. And let's please give him one more round of applause. Thank you. And with that, I have the envelope, please. The District 8, you at District 8 have elected Mr. Martin Proctor as your trustee for the next 3 years. Congratulations to Mr. Proctor, and thank you again, Mr. Grove. And with that, unless there is any other business to be had, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Proctor. That's very good. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? A second over here. All those in favor, please say I do. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you this evening.